Hey everybody, it's Alicia, and you're listening to the Self-Awearness Podcast, where we share mental health journeys from all different types of backgrounds. So thank you so much for being here, and let's get into the show. Hey everybody, I want to welcome Garrido. She is an entrepreneur of many sorts, and one thing we're going to share today is her mental health journey and how it inspired her to create her own mental health app. I'm excited to get into this topic today, so let's get into the story. Hey everybody, I'm Alicia. Welcome back to the show. We're so thankful to have Kat here today and hear her story. So can we start off? Kat, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, hello everyone. My name is Catherine. I was born in Peru. I've been in the US for over 3 years and a half now. I went for a master in marketing in Boston, and then I did a dual degree in business analytics in San Francisco. So that's what brought me to the hub of entrepreneurship and tech and so many opportunities out there for entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial minds like mine.
Yes, we connected over, similarities in the mental health community. So I'm so thankful that you're here today, and we'll get into the work that you're doing too. But I first want to start off with kind of asking you if you have an idea of when you first got introduced to mental health. Like, what age were you? What kind of what did that look like for you?
hmm I think throughout life, right, during school, we get some psychologists if you're having, I don't know, trouble emotionally or academically. But the official time that I was really needing help was when I myself was struggling during my university studies. I was 17 and I was having panic attacks. But I didn't know what it was. I was just maybe in a class, and suddenly my heart would start racing, my hands would be sweating. The first attack that I had, panic attack, was in my own home. I was completely calm, watching TV. Probably some circumstance in my life triggered some dissonance, like that I can acknowledge, that was triggering the panic attacks. But I struggled for 1 year. Every single day I had a panic attack. I was even scared when I woke up in the morning that I would have a panic attack eventually during the day. It was horrible. When I Googled my symptoms, it was so scarce. The material back in what was it, 2008, probably, there was nothing. Like there was, I think maybe probably a psychiatrist or something in Spain so far. So with time, I was recommended to go to a psychiatrist. So he absolutely diagnosed me with anxiety, and what I was experiencing were panic attacks. I went to the ER like 3 times to get my heart tested with EEGs, and they told me everything's fine. Like they didn't know. I went to all the specialities. So finally, one doctor told me, "You have to go to the psychologist," you know? So that's
Mm.
how kind of I reached the psychiatrist. So he was diagnosing me with anxiety. He gave me pills to, keep regulate my serotonin because clearly there was an imbalance. But he told me, this is going to help you right now, but you need to go to the therapist. You need to go to a psychologist. You need to get the causes, deep down, what's happening and how you can help yourself, basically, right? And then little by little abandon the pills or the medical treatment. So I did that in time. I went to the psychologist. I was lucky enough to find one that changed my life. He just the person I was back then and the person I am right now, it has completely changed. So he taught me, his type of therapy was cognitive behavioral therapy. So he taught me everything there's to learn about CBT. He taught me about the cognitive distortions. He taught me about ABC matrix, which is you put a triggering event and you analyze your thoughts. He just opened my world into mental health, teaching me that we have like 80% of our mind is negative. Uh, he taught me, he deconstructed many beliefs that I had of like thinking that my emotions dictate my thoughts, my emotions dictate my actions. And he just changed all of that and rewired my brain into no, my thoughts shape my emotions, and then my thoughts shape my actions, and I have the power to carve pave my life, if I just regulate myself, if I learn how to think more healthy or healthier, if I just change many beliefs. But it's a long journey. I went deep into discovering my core beliefs. It turned out I had many negative ones. So for me, all of that was such a self discovery journey that it never ends. And the like everything you learn at the beginning of a therapy session, even if it's months, you're going to see the results in the long run. Like it's something that you will see in time. So that is something that now, like 10 years later of when this happened, I can see how impactful it has been to me, and that's why it touches me so much. And that's how many years later I'm in the United States. I want to build a mental health app where I grab all the aspects that were so life changing from my therapy session, which my therapist treated like a project. He told me, okay, let's assess you. Let's do a beginning. Let's do an end. You should be here for months. We're going to do this, this, and this. And then you're on yourself. Like we can have, several therapy sessions, but I cannot teach you more, sort of. So yeah, when I talk with other people, I can see that not everyone has the luck that I had to meet a therapist that's so thorough. So that's what I want to do with this app that I have conceived, this idea of building it and trying to empower everybody to help themselves, basically.
Yes. Well, thank you, first of all, for your vulnerability and sharing what the beginning, that first year was like for you, and what this 10-year journey has been like for you with your mental health journey. And I appreciate you sharing kind of what that process was like in the beginning, but how you got help and where you are now, and what you plan to do with your experience. I think that's very inspiring. And I'm happy that we came across to someone like you to share on the podcast of having not knowing what's going on with your body and your mind, and how everything is connecting, and then being able to find the benefit of a negative situation. So thank you for sharing that. There's so much that you said, and I really appreciate the part where, well, I feel I've had a similar situation where I was telling multiple doctors my symptoms and nobody was taking a second look at it. So I validate the frustration in that. And again, kudos to and thank God for that doctor that you had that was actually able to diagnose you. And this gets me really excited about kind of the project that you're working on, because I think we're on the same page of the cognitive behavior therapy. These are the connections that you have with your mind that are triggering, and they lead to panic attacks, or you're analyzing your thoughts and how that relates. I'm excited because, like you mentioned, not everybody has the opportunity for somebody to show them, hey, what you're thinking and what your beliefs are affecting how you're feeling. And when it comes to anxiety and that process. So, before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit more about the medication that you were put on? I admire that they put you on the medication with the goal of getting you off in a timeline. For anybody who's thinking about taking medication or in the similar situation, can you elaborate on that?
Yes, for sure. So I was even like having so much. I was becoming like a very scaredy cat person. I had been so brave in my life, but suddenly this mental illness was making me change, making me very nervous. If I had a little pain in my nail, oh my God, I'm gonna die. You know, I was somatizing everything. So the medication I had was clonazepam. My psychiatrist was a Spanish speaker, and escitalopram. I don't know what's the commercial name for this. So I was working at the time, so the clonazepam made me a little sleepy, and I was like falling, but I took like 3 days to begin to take the pills because I was so scared. Like, oh my God, this is really gonna affect my brain. What if I die? What if like normal anxiety thoughts of death. And so then I began. I was brave enough. I took it in my work because I'm like, if something happens to me, my colleagues are here. And these are the type of thoughts, And then I took it, and then nothing happened. The next day, no panic attack. I know that clonazepam is like faster than escitalopram. So what my psychiatrist explained to me is we want something that acts fast. So that's why I'm giving you escitalopram. And the clonazepam will work in time. No, sorry, the opposite. Escitalopram will work in time, and clonazepam will work now, which you need help now. So after a time, I told him and you have to take it in incremental dosages, right? Not a whole pill. So I am extra sensitive. So he was surprised that my dosage was very tiny. I think it was a fourth of a pill or something. Um, so that was it. And I couldn't believe how the panic attacks just stopped. How all this craziness that I had uh, survived for a year just vanished. And I couldn't believe why I didn't take it sooner, because when something that I was told is that you need to take medication when your normal life stops. If you cannot lead a normal life, like go to the
Mhm.
park, go with your friends, have a drink, I don't know. If you cannot be calm, then you cannot live your life normally, so you need medication to restore. So I was in that position. So and I think there are other ways, that you can help yourself, maybe just with therapy, maybe it's something smaller, but in my degree, I was having panic attacks every single day. I remember crying or listening to opera or something soothing, and nothing where I was breathing a little but didn't work. So yeah, that's about the medication. I think only a psychiatrist can tell you if you have to take medication, nobody else. It's not something like, hey, grab this pill. No. And I think in the States they're more, I think, strict on the prescriptions, right?
I admire the word you use, which is restore, and the example that you have about not being able to do the things that you normally do on a daily basis. And it's funny that you use the phrase scaredy cat because I've also used that phrase with my sister as well. Yeah, it's such a relatable way to phrase how you're feeling and the connection between how you used to act kind of like before that year of having the panic attacks and doing this same things but feeling different. So I really appreciate you walking us through that experience. And I this is my first time hearing about someone, I guess, the time frame of the effects of the medication too. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I want to ask more. So we talked about the cognitive therapy, that system. So can you share a little bit more of like how you want to work with that? What kind of tactics are you looking to show everybody?
Yeah, so for sure, I think mental health should be included in the regular curricula of any school, because we're not only good with numbers and letters, like the intellectual part, like the QI, I think it's in English, like intellectual coefficient. The EQ is also super important, and I don't know if nowadays, but it should be all over the place. So until probably that happens, or maybe some, good schools are doing it already. I cannot know. But I think an app that can generate awareness and teach people or all this educational material that has already been researched, like cognitive behavioral therapy has already all the research backing it up, that just by thinking, just with your thoughts, you can change your whole mental, schemes. It's crazy. So I want three main aspects or features in my app that for me helped me in my journey. Number one is the learning materials. You need to learn what a cognitive distortion is. If you don't learn the theory, you won't learn how to identify it within yourself. And once you learn it, it's amazing because you just learn to think more, healthy. Your mind becomes healthier. You stop overthinking, even because you stop to assume, you stop to expect. It's a train. You have to train and train your mind. You have to take control. I like Buddhism a lot. It's a lot about controlling your mind. That's like the spiritual side, even though I'm Catholic. But yeah, there's so much wisdom, right, in different religions. And I think mental health should be like the middle point in a way of our spiritual side. So it is possible to control or channel our thoughts in healthier ways. So the cognitive distortions are a perfect way to begin. Culture and different countries have already like inherently distortions, like catastrophizing or speaking in a way that you always know what's going to happen, and a lot of things. So once you learn that, you kind of deconstruct it for yourself, for your own good and your relations with others. And then once you learn it for yourself, you're even able to identify it in other people. Like, even like having arguments becomes easier, or even like non-existent, because you just stop assuming, you just stop expecting, you just think with a calm frequency. I don't know how to say. So for sure this has to be taught. So that's one aspect. I do want to make it like gamified, right? I don't want to like boring theory. No, it has to be fun. There can be tests, it can be dynamic. So that's on itself one module of the app. Then the other module, which is it's going to be the trickiest to land, but it's the self-discovery journey part. I want to help people open up and discover their core beliefs. Many times we lead our life without knowing what is our belief. Like, we're unconscious about it. We're unconscious in our actions and our thoughts. So I want to help people, and there are tests, there are ways that psychologists apply to discover your own core beliefs, right? And if it's negative, there are ways to switch it and make it positive. So I went through it myself. So there are so many things that I foresee in the future with my app, even augmented reality or virtual reality. There are so many ways, because it's just reshaping your mind, right? And it's a lot of repetition. So CBT is about new thoughts coming to your mind. You repeat them, you believe them, and then they become you. So that's the way to, and there's so much space in an app to help you do that. And then the third, and I think key aspect of this app will be the AI, where I don't want only a blank page. It has to help you in a way, you're like, help you see how you think, right? So I want the first prompt from the AI to be, okay, what happened, right? Just like a therapist assesses you on a weekly basis normally, you and says like, okay, what happened? Okay, oh, this happened, but this really, messed my emotions. Okay, so there's from CBT a template called the ABC matrix, where you put a triggering event, you put your thoughts of the event. So the event is very factual, the thoughts can be subjective. That's where you write a lot of everything you think, and you have to learn to differentiate how you feel and how you think, because many people say, when expressing thoughts, I feel that I don't want, no, you have to say I think. Feelings are another thing, right? So it's even educating ourselves on our language and how we express each other. or self. So those are the thoughts. And then the other inputs would be the emotions. I've noticed that a lot of people don't know how to word their emotions. So again, with an app, you can put the whole circle of emotions and go, deep and say, okay, I think let's start from the basic. I feel sad. Okay. And from sad, okay, maybe it's this one. And, and oh my God, I'm grieving. I don't know. So that can be also something very dynamic to actually teach people to pinpoint how they're feeling. And then the action box, that's the fourth. It's what am I doing? Like, okay, yeah, I felt like this. So what am I doing? I'm drinking. I went out erratically. I'm shouting to people. I'm fighting with everyone. Like, what am I doing? So all of this, you would normally put it on a journal and you would discuss it with your therapist on every session. And it can be many entries, right? Like a blog. So that same template, I want to put it into the app and I want you to send it to the AI, and the AI has to be trained in a way that he will act as a therapist, but just to pinpoint, like, hey, this thought over here, I am identifying that you have this distortion, or this is not helpful, or or maybe after many days or months of maybe the AI getting to know you, it will tell you, hey, I noticed this pattern in you, that you're always feeling undervalued or undermined, or the slight thing about your worth, it becomes huge. I don't know. So that dynamic is important because it's going to reinforce the learning material from the cognitive distortions. So from my understanding, these three aspects are so impactful. Like, just learning that is super impactful. I would never say this is the replacement for therapy. Therapists should not exist or anything. No, I think that the human connection is something unique. But the app will try to help those that maybe are they have so many stigmas with going to the therapist, but they want help, or they don't know where to start, or firsthand, I've seen friends of mine trying to get an appointment, and it's so hard. Many therapists are not taking new patients, or they are very far, or I also discovered that therapists need licenses per state, right? So a
Yep.
therapist from certain
Mm-hmm.
state cannot treat another therapist from another state. So it's crazy. So there's so many constraints and limitations, and mental health has to be for everybody. So that's why I really feel that this tool, it's like I have to develop it, right? I For some reason I went through everything I went. For some reason I came here, I saw a lot, like the impacts of an international student coming to the US, seeing my friends around me, how they struggle, how now it's something so real from my generation, and the new generations. Like, this journey of self-discovery is so important. And I want to share this little personal detail. In my family, I was considered the odd one because my siblings are 10 years older than me. My parents are belonging to the boomer generation. I was born very late. I'm the youngest by like so far in age from my family, and I was always labeled as the most sensitive and the most traumatized and the most like, am I so emotional? It's us, the new people of the world. I think we are more sensitive to energy, and you were advancing in society. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
Definitely our spiritual side, our mental side has to come along, and be explored, and be also, taken care of. So it was in a way validating that people surrounding me were like me on the emotional level, because it's like that, we're sentient beings. So yeah.
I love how you took into account everybody that is experiencing the same thing around you when it comes to being an international student or just being a new student living on your own in general. And you even just paying attention to what you were going through and the people around you, that says a lot in itself, too, of being able to take that information and put it towards something that you've already experienced and what you want to move towards. I appreciate everything you shared about. So, for anybody who doesn't know, who hasn't been to therapy, kind of like Kat said about So the idea of going to therapy is to rewire those thoughts. So if you were to tell somebody, like, say, for example, I had a panic attack today, like my therapist, kind of like what Kat was walking us through earlier, is that they would ask, okay, where was it at? What were you thinking? What did you see? So kind of like doing that analysis. So I love this idea of having something generated, these prompts generated, because a lot of times, say if I were just to explain that to a friend, even just to say it out loud or write it down, you mentioned about putting it in a journal. It also shows that how this generation is more likely to type or be on their phone. So it's like it adapts to that as well. So again, yeah, just being able to take a step back and put everything that someone's went through, output on something. And I love the idea of this app because I feel like that is such a huge impact in itself, especially like you mentioned, the limited time available or of therapist in your area. Many therapists I've recommended for friends and family. I most of the time, at least one therapist I have ideal is fully booked, their whole schedule. So it is really challenging, even if you can afford to get a session, to even book that time. So that process in itself can help so many people just to start their mental health journey. What I like to mention on the show is everybody starts differently, but even our last guest mentioned just saying those thoughts out loud and getting them out loud and putting them outward makes a big impact in itself. So with everything else that you've added, it seems that you're looking at all aspects when it comes to really being involved in this process and the connectivity with the app. So I love the idea about the games, like making it fun. Like just because we're mentioning, yeah, you are going to put it on paper and it sounds easy, you are still identifying those thoughts and feelings. So you're going to feel those feelings. I love the idea of combining it with something that's positive as well and just like supportive in general. And you standing behind it means a lot too. I want to ask a little bit more about if this is going to be maybe in the app or just general thoughts about, you mentioned many things about spirituality. Is that going to be anything included?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, very great question about the UX UI. Like, I feel that there should be something representative of our evolution, right? Like, or our
Yeah.
self work. Like, we're all souls. So I was thinking, like, maybe there should be like a little ball, floating that, I don't know, somehow grows because multidimensional, right? There are so many dimensions within everybody. So yeah, I'm thinking of on that aspect, like maybe you can earn medals of awareness, or I don't know, so many things,
Huh?
right? Right? I don't know, and for sure the community aspect should be also important. But yeah, I mean, now that you're talking about that, yes, spirituality is ingrained. I mean, we are also spiritual beings. So I'm trying to see how to land that. I've so far thought maybe on the visuals. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of space for contribution, right? This so far the idea I have is very broad, but I'm always when creating, a product or in my past companies, I like to hear all aspects and then trying to grab different ideas, and just creating synergy. And that's how different point of view contribute to something, just make it greater. So yeah, that's part of the discussion, I guess, for the design of the app. But yeah, it has to be engaging, right? I mean, some people
Mhm.
think psychology is boring and dense. I want to make it fun and just natural, right? So yeah.
I love that because, well, everybody, you heard it first. We're exploring ideas here. So comment
Yeah.
on our page and make sure you follow us and give any input you have. But also you mentioned earlier that, you know, having an app like this is going to help that stigma of somebody. Even sometimes I've come across people who have the courage to start their journey, but again, they're going to a therapist that is booked. So like, you know, or like battling with, their health care, not taking or not covering their therapy session. So there's always, things that come up. So would having an app like this accessible is so beneficial for people who really want to start. And I just admire again how much you are so embodying the customer who's actually going to be using this app, and embracing any feelings and any thoughts they may come up with when it comes to being involved and engaged in it. So I want to ask, is there anything else you want to share about this project or any other projects you have going on in the mental health community?
Sure. So I've been over a year, trying to find for the technical co-founder and also different people that I found valuable. So for the app, there's a survey that anyone please is welcome to answer. It's about the features, the look and feel, is about things you would want it to have. It's right now it's I made it in Qualtrics. I had a team of five amazing people from multi-diverse backgrounds. There was a PhD in, I think, psychiatry. There was a psychologist. There was a UX UI researcher. And they also were some from different countries. I learned so much. I know that in India, they don't believe much in mental health, but they believe in astrologists or something. It was so amazing discussions with this team and just getting perspective from even all over the world. So with this amazing team, we did develop a questionnaire. It's out there. Look into my LinkedIn. It's pinned somewhere. But yeah, so feel free to fill that up. Then I don't want to take long. I want to, put out there tools to help people. And that's a common denominator also in my past company. So I have 7 years experience in stationery, right? Making planners with motivational quotes. Like I've always loved to empower people. Right now I kind of mix my two passions into one. So my passion for mental health and my expertise in stationery. So I just launched in December my mental health coloring book called Cognitive Coloring, A Path for Mental Strength. You can find it in Amazon. If you just put Cognitive Coloring, is the first one. And also on my Shopify. We have an Instagram. I guess you'll help me put all the link to the resources. So thank you. So yeah, so there you can get this book. So this book is it has 26 affirmations from inspired in cognitive behavioral therapy. So many distortions, cognitive distortions, how do you attack them is rewiring a thought. So for instance, if you are a control freak, oops, sorry, if you're a control freak, and you're always, worried about the outcome and even things you cannot control, there's saying how to kind of rewire that thought, which is how I feel, how I think is under my control. Just how I feel, how I think is under my control. So those type of powerful affirmations are on this book. That's one of them. There are others, like if you're, let's say you don't know it, but maybe you have a negative core belief, which is I'm not lovable, I'm not valuable. You're gonna find affirmations that say I am deserving of all the love out there or all the good things that can happen. So I've had friends telling me, hey, I just read your book without coloring any page and I just feel better. Like just reading all of this is like
Aw.
a breath of fresh air. Yes, and I'm so touched because it's my friends who are really like validating that this is working on them, and it's people that I love. So I just think that everyone can benefit from this. It's a starting point. An app takes much longer, but if someone wants to take any actionable step towards helping themselves now, they don't know what to do, where to go, who to go to, you can get this book and you can just color and read, find maybe which one resonates more with you and color that one. And the other thing is it takes coloring one step further because when you color, you do get into this relaxation state. So not only will you be relaxed, but you will be inserting positive beliefs. And then every page has a pre-cut side, so you can just pull it out. And if you love to color, you can do a masterpiece and you can hang it, so you see it every day because that's what CBT is about repeating and repeating and repeating. So you just put it, frame it, do put it in a place you will see it every day. and just read it every day, and it's going to help you, rewire your thoughts too. So this is a book that I did my research. There's not such a book like this one. People that have bought it that are not my friends have told me, wow, finally there's a book out in the market that's doing something about mental health. Like, thank you. This is unique. I'm so like the reviews I get are touching, and I have to be honest, it's a dense topic. It hasn't taken off yet, but the few people I get to encounter, they're touched, and I'm happy for that. So yeah, everyone's welcome to take a look, check it out.
It's in the right hands. This is so exciting because I say for my mental health journey, I say my fitness journey and my mental health journey start at the same time because I didn't realize that when I was running, I was being present, which is a coping mechanism, which you just mentioned about about drawing. So drawing and painting and coloring, that is a way of being present, and you're enjoying it so much that you don't even realize, like, kind of like you mentioned before, the subconscious. So yeah, it's just really, it's an activity that is a healthy coping mechanism. It gets you in, calmer and just enjoyable in itself, and I love the combination of adding the positive affirmations with that. I just keep on, like, hearing the phrase in my head, like seeing is believing. And I love how everything that you're working on is so visual because myself and others are very visual learners and visual, we're visual humans in itself. So I love that you shared this, and I'm excited to put this put this out for our audience to try it out as well. And I want to ask our last question here. So if someone were to be starting their mental health journey today, what kind of advice would you give them?
Tell them download my app because it's needed. Like,
Yeah.
so I would recommend them to. That's what I did, with a lot of my friends. I sent them straight to my therapist because he was so effective.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tricky to find someone so good at, an amazing psychologist. Yeah. So what would I tell them? I would tell them, I would want them, well, first you have to listen to them, right? You have to know what are they struggling with, because one thing is anxiety, one thing is depression, one thing, there's so many things. Anxiety, basically there's an origin, but the first thing you will do in therapy, if you want to cut, the maybe palpitations or whatever, is breathing techniques. Breathing techniques for sure help. So that was for sure something that impacted me because my psychologist taught me how to breathe, how to diaphragmatically, and there are many videos on YouTube for that, how to breathe. And you have to be disciplined. You have to do it 3 times a day. That was my prescription. 3 times a day, breath work. And it's like 10 breaths with, like 8-second inhalation. You wait 3 seconds and then you exhale in 6 seconds, and that worked. So how does it work, right? He told me that even if I get frustrated or whatever, in the long run, it achieves that the mind will calm itself. All these crazy thoughts, breath, it's so crazy. This air of life, the brain calms. So he said, little by little, in the future, if you're, and it's proved to be right, it's true. You might feel that a panic attack is coming. But the instant you take one breath in, it's gonna display all the benefits of the breath that your body already knows. So it's gonna take one breath to calm yourself down. And it was true. Later, I've had some triggers in like a year later or 2 years later after quitting medication and such. And I'm like, I already know I'm not gonna die even if my heart is beating at 200 beats per minute. So I'm not, everything's okay. Everything's in my mind. Let's breathe. And you hold it. And I could feel that as soon as I do my first breath, my heart just boom. And then it continues, but it is slowing. So I'm like, oh, I need to breathe. So then I'm like, there's no threat. There's no menace. Everything's great. Okay. And then I've even, I think if there's a record on cutting a panic attack, I've managed to cut a panic attack in 1 second. And I mean that's for panic attacks, right? And then
Hmm.
something else that I learned that just helps me. I don't know if it works with somebody else. That was, I tried so many things to cut my panic attack. So the breath works, but something that still works even if you, let's say it, because I've 10 years, right? Let's say 10 years you haven't done breath work, whatever. Something that works is cold water or a cold can or something from the fridge. If you're feeling that you need something, I put it on the center of my chest, and that coldness just, I don't know, relaxes me. And then all these crazy thoughts and panic just disappear. As soon as I put something cold and or freezing in the center of my chest, it's gone. But yeah, at the end of the day, panic attacks are the symptom of something else that is underlying, right, from your past, usually childhood. So if someone is having symptoms or needs help to that level, yeah, you have to go to a therapist. You have to learn to gain a normal life. CBT doesn't care what's the trigger necessarily. It will help you to cope. It will help you to do something. Also that helped me was I know it in Spanish. It's like there's an empty chair dynamic where you go back in your childhood and you try to identify when was the first time you experienced this high intensity of emotions. The psychologist has to lead you through a meditation, and you have to feel safe, and that's when everything comes out. So yeah, it's a self-discovery journey. So in my case it was funny because I thought my childhood was funny and great and I felt amazing, but actually when I went back in time, under that surface that I remembered, I was sad
Hmm.
and I felt abandoned, and so many things came out, you know? So I'm like, wow, I wouldn't have known if I didn't do this work. There's work to do with the therapist. So, for instance, that's an aspect that I think should remain in the hands of therapists because they have to guide you. But I also see it in the future for the app being applied with virtual reality, probably, you know? I think that can be recreated, but tests, right? We don't want to trigger anyone. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot to be done. It's not a simple answer to tell someone what can they do. It depends on a lot of things.
I think those were great examples and techniques that someone could instantly use, especially if they were also struggling with panic attacks. So, thank you for sharing that. Of course, we want to first recommend the app, and
Yes.
I'm so excited to link all the information in this video. But for anybody who wants to just connect with you and see all the work that you've done, where can they reach you?
So yeah, if you want to check the surveys we have launched, it's my personal LinkedIn. I think I should put them also on the TheraApp LinkedIn. That's where any news will come out, but more on the customer level, like closer would be the Instagram. So in the Instagram, I'm actively putting like where like the book is being sold. So it's already being sold in San Francisco, in Dog Eared House, the bookstore in Mission, in Serendipity in Mission, and in Market Street, the heart of the financial district near Montgomery in Patrick's. So if you really want to go check it out, you can go to these 3 points. I'm looking, of course, to expand the distribution in a way, but I'm learning a lot. So, or, online. So, yeah, basically, yeah, follow TheraApp on LinkedIn and Instagram, and that's where you can and find everything, all the other links.
Yay! Thank you so
Yes.
much, Kat, for sharing everything today. I think this is going to be so informational and exciting for all of our listeners and everybody who's going to follow your journey. So I want to appreciate you for sharing that and being on the show and taking time to support our mental health community. So with
Yes,
that,
thanks.
we're going to wrap it up.
Also, thank you also, Alicia. I really appreciate the work you're doing to give people, that are trying to do something on the mental health space. It sometimes is just pushed to the side. But thank you. Thank you for doing this podcast. It's, I think, maybe the first one ever for me. So I really appreciate this opportunity. And I also congratulate you on your own. journey of, giving a bit of voice and space to other people that are also trying.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate our time together. And we're going to wrap it up. So, everybody, have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey, everybody, if you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe, or even share it to a friend that you think that would like this story. It really means a lot to our mental health community. We really value sharing the resources that come up throughout each episode. So by sharing this information, you are helping a friend further their mental health journey. So thank you for supporting this community and have a good one. Bye.